Welcome to Bottle Rattle Company.
Check 1, 2. Hi, it's me again, hanging out with you. Hello. How are you doing? I'm okay. I am good and great, and most of all, I am me. Yay! I love being me on a day like today. Hope everyone is doing well. I don't know about y'all, or if this will apply when this comes out, but this has been, how do I say this? Maybe like a famous poet, maybe like a T.S. Eliot would, or like a C.S. Lewis, or a J.P. Morgan would say it. I would say that this month has been bullshit. It's been full of some bullshit. But today's a good day. But I have not been feeling hot lately. This is crazy that you can just start a fucking podcast and then just do this. Like, you can literally subject people who are just trying to listen to an interview with an awesome guest. Like, this intro part, I can just talk about being unhappy. And anyone could do that, not just me. Like, literally anybody in the world could do that by way of podcasts. But I listen to other people do this, and I really enjoy it. Not saying that you should enjoy me doing this or anything, or that you have to be listening to this part. You can skip ahead. I don't know. I think I'm just trying to do a thing. I don't know. With the podcast, I just like the idea of being able to have in a concrete place. Like, even if I look back on the way I'm communicating, and don't like it, I guess. Like, at least it's in the books. And I was talking to my girlfriend about this last night, my sweet love. I feel like the purpose of doing all this shit, like the podcast, the music, the videos, the like everything, like, is not to proclaim that you're doing anything profound, maybe, like, but just to like offer people another option as far as views of the world. And I don't even mean specifically like targeted views, like political views or anything specifically, but like just literally like, hey, this is a path you can go down, and you can find comfort maybe in some of the things that I talk about, not because they're special or anything, but just because I'm saying them out loud, and maybe there aren't people in somebody's life saying those things that they're thinking, and it just might help to know that someone else is thinking it or something. I don't know. It's silly. This feels dark for some reason, but it's not. I think it's a good thing, man. Damn. Jenny is on the podcast today. My sweet friend, Jenny. What an incredible person. Such a great interview. This was one where I felt immediately like comfortable to be there. Like, I know that sounds silly, but genuinely, sometimes I'm really, really nervous going into these, and I was definitely nervous because Jenny's a badass, but I just like immediately felt kinship, which is how I felt when we met, like 2 years ago or something now. We wrote Cinnamon together, the song off of Sunflower, just at the spot Jenny was living at in LA at the time. We talk about that experience because the AC was out at that house, and it was really funny and hot and miserable but awesome. We didn't talk about this, but we also wrote a song called Six Pack that was really, really funny. But man, loved this conversation a lot. Ginny's an incredible songwriter and just a really interesting person that I think sees things similarly to me, but in a really, really unique way that I don't know anyone else whose views could be compared to Ginny's. So yeah, I hope y'all dig this one. I genuinely loved this conversation so much. We talk about a bunch of music at the end too. A lot of recommendations flying around that are all really sick. Talked about Ginny's band, talked about moving places. I don't know. Why would I give you shitty bullet points when you could just do it? Thank you guys for being here. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this one as much as I did. Let's fire it up. Jenny, here we go. I'd record it in Logic too, and then I get the it's always the like metronome at the beginning, and it seems so intense that I have to like talk at the same pace as the like 120 BPM.
Oh yeah. You have no choice.
I like your setup. Are you a podcast person? Have you?
I am. I make a couple of them.
Oh wait, you told me about this the first time we met. You do the Buffy thing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So I've got the Sitch, the arm.
Very nice. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Silly, but it helps.
Yeah, I'm sure. Especially with just how much of a format of conversation sitting like this has become, like anything to make it comfortable is probably, or like feel like its own distinct thing is probably really helpful.
Oh yeah, that is true. There is like a little bit of a ritual to it.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah. Did you grow up like enjoying podcasts and stuff, or was it something that you just kind of like got into at a certain point in your life?
I think that we started buffering in 2016, and I had been listening to podcasts. Like I had gotten like really into TV recap podcasts in like the years leading up to that. Yeah. I was listening to like the X-Files and Cast of Kings and some other stuff, and was just like, wow, what a fun thing. What if I love listening to them. What if I could trick people into listening to me make one? Oh, would that be cool?
You don't have to trick them. You're so good.
Well, one way or another,
yeah.
I've rounded up some delightful people to listen to me talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is a real gift.
Yeah, that's fucking amazing. Is that something that you ever could have, like if you told young you, like baby tiny you, that this would be something that you found so much joy in? Like, would you have bled yourself?
I don't know. I mean, I think young me would be like, what do you mean people spend like tens of hours every week listening to recordings of other people just having conversations about TV shows that they like?
Yeah. Oh my God.
That sounds nuts.
Literally right before this call, my little siblings called me. And my brother's 10 and my little sister's 9 now, 8 or 9. And they were like, I was like, I have to go. I have to get ready to do a podcast today, which, sorry, again, I was late for.
Oh, no worries.
But they were like, I was like, do you guys listen to podcasts? Like, do you know much about those? And they were like, no, tell us everything. And I was like, yeah, it's just, I was like, I don't know if you would enjoy it, but it's just going to be a conversation between like a friend and I, and we just kind of talk about whatever for like as long as we want to. And my little brother was like, so it's just music without the good part. And I was like, I guess so, technically.
Ouch.
Like but it was very funny to hear a 10-year-old's interpretation, a very intelligent 10-year-old's interpretation of what a podcast looks like.
It's interesting to hear it framed like that, because I feel like my listening habits like started to skew very heavily like away. Like I was listening to like less music because I was making more music, you know? So totally. Like my downtime, I was like, whoa. Yeah, for real. If I hear another song, I'm going to explode. Wouldn't it be soothing to listen to people talk about Game of Thrones for a couple of hours.
Same. Yeah. We like touring was a huge contributor to me actually giving a lot of podcasts a chance and realizing like how cathartic they are, like to feel like you're participating in a conversation that you don't have to be anything in. Like you can listen to multiple people talk and be the like quiet friend in the room and not feel pressure to contribute, but still feel important, like in a van. Like, yeah, definitely was like a big, big turn for me. Do you typically listen to a lot of music, like just in general, or did it kind of pick up when you were starting to make more music?
Oh, I mean, I definitely have been very engaged with music like since I was a kid. And like, you know, I think making music was a direct result of listening to music, you know.
Sure.
I was like, whoa, listen to all this stuff. This rocks.
Yeah.
Well, I want to do a much worse version of that for a long time and then very slowly get slightly better. How cool.
Well, like that's the dream though, that like you could not hope for anything else than that.
Oh yeah.
What was what's like an early memory of you listening to music? Like what's one of the first times you remember like putting on headphones and like being in the zone, really connected with listening to music?
I think like there are two things that I can go back to. The first is my parents had Revolver on vinyl, and we had like a record player in the like kitchen dining area of my house, and we were listening to that record. It was like the first time I was really hearing it, and Eleanor Rigby happened, and I was like, hang on. For the first time ever in my life, I, you know, moved the needle back and like needed to hear a song a second time.
There it was.
In a row. Yes. And I was like, what is happening?
Damn.
And then like some years later, I feel like the biggest nerd on planet Earth talking about this, but before I got into Nirvana, like my gateway into Nirvana was, God help me, Weird Al Yankovic's like parody of Smells Like Teen Spirit. And I was like listening to it in headphones, like walking along, and I was just like the drums happen, you know, in a very similar way to the way that they happen on the Nirvana record. And I was like, dude, what
holy shit
is happening? Like all of the like sort of wild, like primitive, chaotic energy of Nirvana is like in that recording, even though it's Weird Al Yankovic saying some goofy stuff,
some crazy shit. Yeah.
Wow. I was like, I gotta find out what the deal is with this real band.
God, I love that. That is the fucking coolest way to get into Nirvana. Oh my God, that's crazy. I am like always fascinated by like how we listen to music at that age, and I find it so interesting that like my iPod when I was like in middle school or like late elementary school was filled with so much shit like Weird Al, and like, dude, I remember being embarrassed, like not even knowing I should be maybe embarrassed about this, but like I was like emotionally moved by like a Crazy Frog song, and something about it like actually hit me, and I was like, wait, this like is like kind of beautiful. And I don't know what it is about that stage of listening to music where I was like, I understand this is a frog saying very nonsensical things and like riding around on an invisible motorcycle, but like for some reason this makes me want to like listen to more music. And I feel like young people are so often open to like that kind of like underlying thread through music, like even if it's silly, like that is the inexplainable part of like why music is special.
Before you develop sensors for like whether something is cool or not, and whether like you enjoying it would be cool or not, there is just the thing. And even, you know, a super goofy song is still made up of the same kind of like melodic and harmonic building blocks, and you can bet that that's being made by somebody who doesn't just write Crazy Frog songs,
right,
you know what I mean?
Who's like,
who has like musical ideas and is like passionately engaged with music.
Totally,
you know?
Yeah, as a very complex human being, like as we all are. That's so interesting. Do you remember, like, do you have memories of showing people things and them telling you it wasn't cool? Like, what were you like shamefully listening to?
That's a good question. There must have been like instances where, like, you know, I had a friend over and then like we were like in the backseat while my parents drove to the mall and like my parents put on like Weird Al or something. Like, I'm sure there were moments where my friends were like,
yeah, totally.
Like that. But like, I don't know, aside from Weird Al, like when I was a kid, the music that was in my house was like Beach Boys, Beatles, like oldies stuff.
Yeah.
And like U2 for some reason, like earlier U2 albums had like a big footprint.
Parents love you too. Like, if you are a person who has a child, you immediately,
it happens.
You get a knock on the door and it's like the other stork that just drops off a U2 CD.
Yeah, it happened to our parents and it'll happen to us eventually.
Yeah. I lean over and you can see I have like just a poster of Bono on the wall. I don't, just for the listeners at home. I do have a photo of my dad who has a poster of Bono on his wall at home.
You're 1 degree removed from a poster of Bono on your wall.
God. Ugh. May it be a slow journey there. I want to enjoy every second. Well, how have you been since I saw you last? It's been a really, really long time.
Dude. I've been good. Things are good. I feel like what's happened since last I saw you? Don't be alarmed, but I'm talking to you from the great state of Maine, where I live now.
You fucking what the hell? What city?
I'm in a town called Kittery. It's like at the southern border of Maine.
Okay,
right next to
amazing.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It's so beautiful. There's like the ocean and the woods, and it's so nice.
That's incredible. Congrats.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. And I got a dog is the other big thing that's happened since I saw you.
We could fill an entire episode with those two conversation points.
Yeah.
Let's start with the dog, maybe. Tell me a little about this puppy.
Yeah, man. His name's Frank. He's a Boston Terrier.
Hell yeah.
We got him on the first day that shelter in place went into effect in Los Angeles.
Wow.
So, and he is he's the best. He's like the light of my life, and he's so funny and just a total hoot. But he also is very chaotic. When he was like 6 months old, he ate 2 thumbtacks.
Oh, dear
He pulled
God.
them out of a corkboard,
buddy,
to eat them.
Frank.
And he had to have surgery
No.
to get them removed.
I'm so sorry. Was that so scary?
That's the whole moment. It was very scary for us, but Frank seemed honestly delighted the entire time.
God, that son of a gun.
Truly wild. He came back after the surgery. He came back to us with a huge like Frankenstein cut, that had been stapled back together,
buddy.
like all the way down his belly.
Yeah.
And was just like so happy, as though like nothing had happened. He was just like, "What's up?
God.
Can I run around now?"
I ate some shit and it turned out like okay. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so, like, I am trying to imagine the emotional roller coaster, but also picturing his joyful face through the entirety of that experience.
Dude, it was so wild.
That is
crazy. It was
crazy.
very wild.
Wow. Is this your first pet that you have like adopted in, and then just like, is this your first dog?
This is my first dog as an adult. I had a cat as an adult, but this was the first dog, and they're, higher maintenance.
Yeah.
Definitely capable of more chaos, I think, than cats. But so fun.
It's the price you pay for that like undying loyalty though that they have within them.
Yeah, man. It's like, it's really a lot. Like, he's just such a He's such a friggin' good boy.
Yeah, just a sweet little, just angel from heaven, maybe. Okay, perfect.
An angel from heaven with like a death wish.
With also like a dark, dark past.
Yeah, exactly.
A death wish, an angel from hell, as one might say.
Oh my god, he really is like a hell's angel.
A little biker. Okay, so you traveled with Frank across the country.
Sure did.
What was it like getting to Maine and setting up a whole new thing? Did you know anyone there? You said you had family there, or did I understand?
My partner Jess grew up here,
right?
And like, you know, we had visited a bunch, and I have a friend who's from the next town over that like I've spent time at his family home, and I just, you know, was very excited to be in this area. But you know, we thought it would be like a few years down the road, but then there we were in Los Angeles, you know, like 9 months into pandemic lockdown, seeing absolutely no one, you know, very, very close to a really bad forest fire that like went on for weeks. We were like, not only could we not go anywhere outside of the house, but we couldn't like step outside. We had to like have the windows closed and the air purifiers running for like 2 weeks straight. Then there was a massive earthquake, like the worst one I ever felt the whole time I was living there. And then we just looked at each other and we were like, we should go.
Yeah, why are we here?
We should just get out of here.
Do you want to just we can just go and then
yeah, and like, you know, I could take a picture of this room that I'm in right now in Los Angeles and use it as my Zoom background on all my Zoom rights, and like no one will know.
Yeah, literally.
You know, everything I was doing was remote, and there was like sort of no end in sight at that time. So I was just kind of like, well, I'll go now,
right? And
I'll come back to LA when it's safe to travel. Like, I'm not going to be doing in-person sessions before it's safe to travel anyway, so I might as well just slip out.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a really healthy choice.
So stoked.
Yeah. What is your relationship with LA now that you've gotten to Maine and it's beautiful?
Well, LA was a place that I loved visiting before I moved there.
How long did you live there?
I lived there for 5 years.
Okay.
And I think and I spent a couple years before that doing like writing trips there like every few months, and like always had a great time. Like a lot of my friends live there, so it was just like always a blast to come into town. And I think that's what's going to happen again. Like, I think it will just go back to being a place I love to visit, full of like lots of people that I like a lot.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of headquarters being in the Northeast. I grew up here, so like seasons and like humidity are like very appealing to me, even when they are difficult.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, there's something beautiful about fighting those like literally like clawing for life in the winter in those East Coast places. Like, as silly as that sounds, like this was our first really brutal winter that we've had in like 10 years, and in the moment I was like losing my mind, but now looking back on it, like there was so much. It was I would never have had an experience like that if I hadn't have felt like nature was like against me. You know what I mean?
Dude, there's something about it too. I feel like I lived in New York for 10 years before I moved to LA, and like when I got to LA I was like, there's something just different about people. And I think that what's so great about LA, it's like beautiful most days. I can go outside, 360 days of the year and hang out. And it sort of like, it takes that part of your daily existence out of the equation. You're not like, oh, it's so windy. Oh, it's so cold. Oh, the rain is so much. Yeah. Oh God. Oh, the snow, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about that like, I think creates some kind of like bond strengthening agent in communities. I feel like, the snowstorm's coming, you go to the grocery store, everybody's there for the same reason.
Yep. Wow.
Getting their supplies. Everybody's like, whoa, it's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
And, you're all going to be outside shoveling the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something about it.
Yeah. The unity aspect, I think, is just like, so it's just so funny how we can overlook that in certain decisions we make about like where we live and what we do with our lives. But it's like, so it's the thing we talk about the most with how many times do you hear someone talk about moving to a new place and be like, oh, but the best part are the people. But it's so funny that we can still sometimes make decisions to put ourselves in situations where we're like not considering that like all we need at the end of the day is like safety from those brutal winters and like people who care about us to a certain degree and that we also care about, you know what I mean? Like it's just it's a really simple list of needs met. That's really cool that you ended up somewhere like Maine, because I feel like that's just so it's just a special place as far in regards to community and people and peace. That's really cool.
Yeah, man, I'm loving it. I'm so stoked.
But also it's so pretty.
Like, yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And like Frank gets to like run around on the beach. Frank gets to run around in the woods. He's very stoked,
Golly. If he was stoked while eating thumbtacks, I can't imagine how pumped he is to be outside.
Yeah, imagine the possibilities.
That's incredible. Well, how this is I guess a big question or just like a large scope question, but like what was your relationship with writing? Because I know you said in LA, like, so you moved there for music and to write music and a community of people who wrote music. So like to move somewhere a little more serene maybe, or like a little more removed obviously from such a metropolitan area, how did that affect your relationship with writing and like just music in general?
I think like there's something about being here that just feels like I was so anxious for like so many months straight, and like the minute that I got here, like my whole body untensed. There's something just like on a like sort of holistic level that just feels very right about being here. It is hard to be away from what is like really the hub of both like my work and my friends.
Yeah.
And there is like a lot of overlap in those, two circles. It's, but I've been talking to a lot of people, and I wonder if you will have any sort of overlapped experience with this, but a lot of the writers that I've been talking to, as things are starting to open up and people are vaccinated and like there's like a little bit more in-person session stuff going on now, like I find myself talking to a lot of people who are like who've had the opportunity to sort of like assess where are my creative energies best directed, and like how am I serving like sort of like my own creative passion, and also this sort of like writing initiative. And I feel like not being able to go anywhere and sort of like having our sort of all of our the shapes of our days and our lives and our work kind of like deeply impacted for like an extended period of time has like made a lot of people, I think, reprioritize like what are the things I really want to work on, and how many days of the week do I want to work on those, and how many days of the week do I want to work on things for other people's projects. It's just sort of like I know a lot of people in LA who write every day. I know some people who like do like 2 a days. I just like, I don't know we're all different, you know, we're all so different.
Yes.
And I salute those people and I celebrate that ability. But for me, like, there has to be downtime in which life is lived and experienced and not just written about, so that there will then be things to write about, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So like, I guess that like balance coming into focus or like striving for balance is like been kind of something I've really been thinking about here.
Dude, I am so glad you just said all of that, because that's exactly how I feel. And if I had tried to say that, it would have come out like, yeah, I don't know anymore. End of sentence. Like,
dude, I mean,
that was so like beautifully put. Yeah.
I feel like I don't know anymore is like 60% of what I and everyone I've talked to has said for the last like year and a half. Yeah,
absolutely. I think I just had a phone call with a friend, right before we were doing this, that was touching on kind of this topic, in regards to how we were feeling. And I think, something he brought up that was so interesting to me was that, like, I spent so much time during the lockdown and just the entire year, really leading up to now, like, thinking a lot within myself and using myself as kind of my own filter of like my own growth and my own development as a person. And like, I was really having a lot of like quote unquote breakthroughs within myself, and not applying those sentences and that like knowledge, again, quote unquote, like to an actual situation in life, because there were no situations in life socially that were even relatively similar to what maybe they were before the pandemic began. So now, yeah, as things have started to shift and like the social switch has just been flipped back on, like it has not served me whatsoever to have made so many like philosophical breakthroughs in my head when I'm in a room of people and I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on inside of me right now. And so in relation to music, like I was writing songs that I was having these like really thorough explanations to myself as to why they were good or why they were bad or why they mattered to me, and I didn't care if anyone else liked them. And now that we're back into social settings and I'm experiencing feelings of joy, actual sadness again, you know, jealousy, frustration, like every normal feeling that you have, like I don't give a shit if I can explain to myself why structurally a song I'm writing about these feelings matters, or like why, you know, a quantity of songs I'm writing matters, or like whatever. Like it's become so much more about like, okay, I just came home from a party that like left, you know, I left feeling weird. Like I want to write right now to like deal with that. And I think obviously there was so much tragedy and so many emotions that were to be written about once the pandemic began until now. But it's a strange combination to still be just beginning to maybe even unpack some of those things, just as an entire population, to couple that with this like, here you go, life is starting again feeling. So I totally understand the like reprioritizing thing, and there was a lot of reprioritizing to be done in general before things started to pick back up. Like I felt a major shift in making sure that everything I was doing felt important, or like if it had enough value to even be considered to be introduced into the world while there were so many things going on. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I think like I think it's been sort of like a industry-wide question mark to wrestle with, like, since this kicked off. I know like a lot of people that I know, you know, were feeling like, what is even in this larger context, what is even the point? of if I write a song
Oh yeah.
today.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a question that we all ask ourselves sooner or later, but I think the answer can be found in like your own personal history when you doubt like the importance of somebody writing a song someday. Like, think about what you do when you're feeling your lowest, like probably at least some of the time when you are in pain, you want to listen to a song that makes you feel better or worse, depending on, you know, what you're like.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's such a cliche to say that it's such a tool to remind yourself that you're not alone, but that, I mean, essentially that's what music is to me now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Have you like throughout your like career making music, have you ever taken breaks from it? Have you ever walked away and come back, or has it ever been like a really black and white sort of beginning and end periods?
I think that since I started making records, like I've never not been musically engaged. There was like when I first moved to LA, I was very focused on writing with and for other people. So like moving from like the sort of like artist brain to writer brain felt like it felt like I needed to make that sort of distinction for myself. You know, I didn't feel like I could think about both things at once for a while.
Yeah.
And then, you know, in the last few years, I started to make my own songs again and release them. And do that sort of like in tandem, like not really slowing down on the writing front, which has been really nice. I guess I'm just the answer to your question is no, music always, but just kind of like there have been like different phases of like what kind.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, I was talking to a friend today as well. A lot of great phone calls today. And she was talking about a buddy of ours who she hadn't seen in a long time, who had like quit music. And I was like, man, I guess like that, the thought of doing that, or this person putting it into a scope of like, yeah, I quit music, seems so major, but like there are periods of time where I don't write for 2 or 3 months, and like I could basically write that off as like, yeah, I quit music those 2 months. And I think it's just really interesting, like, you know what I mean? Like how it can be, how there aren't, it's just totally how you frame it within your mind of the relationship with this thing that can like potentially be a part of everything you do in every way, even when you're not doing it. It's like, I don't know if that made any sense.
No, I think that made a lot of sense. I mean, we are telling ourselves our own story our whole lives, and like there might be a reason why you need to say that you are not doing something for right now before you come back and say that you are doing it again. Kind of like, I don't know, kind of like an on again, off again relationship. Like, you know, somewhere in you that you're going to go back eventually, and maybe that'll be actually the time that, you know, is perfect. Yeah. But for right now, you have to say it out loud so that your friends will at least sort of try to hold you to it for the moment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's cool. Because like half the like, I feel like that's where my stupid little like writer, like music person ego comes into play, is we all love that feeling of being like, yeah, I'm just so, I don't know anymore, because it's so satisfying when you do come back and you're like, I've actually never felt closer to music in my life. Like, you know what I mean? That shit's so funny. Dude, that's a real like psychological thing. Like my partner was just talking to me about this like really interesting thing. She read somewhere that like we, especially like people from our generation, will like, we're so inclined to put ourselves in anxiety inducing situations, or like put ourselves in situations where we are faced with adversity,
sometimes, like subconsciously, so that we get the satisfaction of making it through them. And like I just was like, so to think that like how many times my brain has been like pulling the sails to put me in a place where like I was just down so I could come out of it is like so interesting. And I feel like that's such a crazy part of humans that we all are aware of, but like don't even see the full impact of on just everything as a whole. Like I think about that like every day.
I mean, dang, dude, that's a hell of a way to look at it. I love that.
It's crazy. I mean, like, and it brings some levity to some things, you know, like not, I don't think it discounts pain, but I think it just makes me like think of humans even more with like more endeared to like see that like, man, we want love, we want happiness so badly that we're willing to like go through insane measures to get ourselves in places where we can like feel them. Like we'll manufacture. It's crazy. It's like it's like a plant. Like it, you know, like we'll just go through whatever we need to do to get this feeling of love or happiness. I think it's really interesting.
Oh.
I feel like if I just like held up a bong right now, like it would not be a surprising thing. I was like, yeah, man, people are just fucking crazy.
Yeah, they'll do all kinds of shit, man.
Yeah, people will do anything to get a fix, man.
I think too there's so much to dig up about like the way that you learned to be comfortable or the way that you learned to exist as a child, like whatever the emotional shape of your childhood was, I think has so much to do with how you steer yourself. Like if you grew up in an environment where you were anxious or, you know, like where there was uncertainty, whatever, like that kind of vibe, and that was like sort of the through line, then like you are going to perceive anxiety and discomfort as comfortable, and you are going to seek out like that emotional space as an adult. Yeah. You know? Yeah,
that's so interesting. And so
being a person.
Yeah, no good. I'm down to just be frank from here on out.
Unsubscribe. Onboard me to the dog program. Yes.
Yeah, please. What do you guys need? I can bring 2 proofs of identification and very quickly become a dog immediately. Well, it makes me happy to hear that it seems like you are enjoying where you're at now.
Oh yeah, man.
That's awesome. I think you were a joyful person when we met the first time though too. There was a lot of like, yeah, you were radiant, just sunlight just shooting out of you. It was crazy.
Wow, that's impressive because I remember distinctly that the couple days that we spent writing some songs together, you very graciously came to write at my house where the air conditioner was doing approximately nothing.
Yeah, it was on a shit show.
One of the hottest weeks of the year. Just like, yes, we've gained a song and we've lost about 10 pounds of combined water weight at the end of this day. Yeah.
Wow. I actually didn't remember that until right now. Yeah, it was that feeling. I have a distinct memory of leaving, I guess on like the second day or something, and walking outside and being like, oh shit, it's like colder outside, I think. Like, dude, my AC is out in my car right now, and it's the same feeling. No. So like every time I get out of the car, it's made me appreciate just standing outside more because it's so miserable inside. Did you ever get your AC fixed, or was the rest of your time in LA spent really hot?
There was sort of nothing to do with that, the cottage that you came by. I think it was like an insulation structural, but it was just kind of a mess. But we did move.
Oh, nice.
Like we were in a different spot for like the last like 9 or 10 months that we were in. LA, which
Very
with
cool.
better air conditioning.
Yeah, that I would really, really hope so for
Yeah, man, I'm
your
so
health.
sorry about that.
Hey, it got us where we're at today. We're able to have this conversation.
It's true.
I don't love the phrase "it built character," but it made me a very strong, what's the word I'm looking for? Powerful individual. Now,
Yes.
I fear nothing.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome.
Yeah, no, I literally should have sent you a thank you. I guess I did, but you moved, so someone else got a thank you note that said thank you for helping me grow. By way
Yeah,
of,
that did not get forwarded.
oh no, uh-oh. Well, I might have to swing back by and pick it up, and next time I'm in Maine. My grandpa lives in Maine, so I actually will
whereabouts?
have to come say hi. He is in, like, I think it's like super central. He's in Pittsfield.
Pittsfield, Maine.
Yeah. I think Maine is not giant, right? So everyone's kind of close to everybody.
It's like bigger than you think it is.
Oh, I don't know why that's so
But-
cute to me. That makes me...
It's like, yeah, I'm looking at it on the map. It's like the size of Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island combined.
Really? I did not process that. Yeah, I guess it's kind of big. It would take some time to drive from one end to the other.
It goes north. It goes up.
Yeah.
I see Pittsfield.
very
It's
high
like up above Augusta.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is it central? Did I just make that up?
I think it's sort of like, yeah, it's like a little south of dead center of the state.
Okay.
Looks like.
It's a very funny place. There's like 100 people. That's not true. He would be very mad if you heard me say that. But there are not very many people. It's like a really tiny town. They throw like a carnival every summer though. So like we would go up to the carnival.
Whoa, is it the Central Maine Egg Festival?
Oh my god. Wow, it's happening. I never thought that this would come up on the Bottle Rocket Company
Tell me-
podcast.
As I Google,
Mhm.
explain the Egg Festival to me.
There's not a single, pardon my French, but there's not a single fucking egg at that festival. Can you
How
believe
dare
it?
they?
Actually, he's explained to me before why they call it that, and I very foolishly don't remember. But it's just like the perfect picturesque carnival where everything is kind of rickety and like every ride is making a different creaky sound, but it's like right on this little creek. He runs a French fry truck, and so like he's like double battering fries and slinging them left and right. He also makes Cuban sandwiches, so like you just walk around eating your Cuban and your fries, get on a little tilt whirl action. But it's like it's literally also in Maine, so it's like so lush and beautiful, and there's like a fireworks show. It's like,
Oh wow.
yeah, it's like the sweetest thing ever. I have a really soft spot for carnival sort of situations, like anything like that. I'm a sucker.
I'm 100% on board with you.
Thank you.
I grew up going to the Sussex County Farm and Horse Show, which later became the New Jersey State Fair and Sussex County Farm and Horse
Oh
Show.
my god. That's
It grew over the span of my life.
yeah.
But especially because it's that time of year, right now.
Mhm.
So it's like on my brain. I made this song called Gravitron a couple years ago.
Oh, the best ride.
That's like, yeah, exactly. It's like the best ride when you're a kid. And if you went on it now, you would be like, oh. But I feel like so many things that you do when you're like a kid and a teen are like that. You're like, oh man, I'm so
Yeah.
excited. Like when I think about like my first official like my drink was like Southern Comfort neat, which is like a punishment.
Right. Yeah, no,
You know?
you would never intentionally do that. Yeah.
But at the time I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
I can't think of a better idea than this.
I'm up in a different place than the rest of society right now. Like
They
I'm
don't
living
know
high.
my secret.
These poor people, they don't get it.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, I felt that
They
way.
never will.
I felt that way even while I threw up after I drank Fireball for the first time when I was like 14 or something. Like I still was like, this is it. Like I've tapped into
I
something.
am cool.
I am we're on to something here. It's only going to get better.
Yes, definitely. I should drink more next time.
Maybe that's what I did wrong the first time. Yeah, that's I can totally attest to the Gravitron sentiment, because we just took a trip, my sweet friends and I, to Dollywood, which I don't know if you're familiar.
Oh shit,
dude! Fuck.
Was it awesome?
It like literally could not have been better. I was a little worried just because it's in Sevierville, Tennessee, and I was just like, it's been a long time since I've been here. Like, I don't know what the vibe of this place is going to be like. Are people going to be just like a lot? But it turned out to just be so pleasant. And of course, anything that Sweet Dolly is involved with would be a loving, unified, open place.
Yeah, man.
But dude, it was like pristine. It was like the cleanest amusement park I've ever been to. Sorry, Egg Festival, and your state fair. But yeah, dude, but that being said, I felt like such a dumbass because I was the only one who had been there out of our group. And so the whole ride there, I'm like talking about like, oh yeah, and this like water ride, like it's actually like, I don't know, man, like I don't think you guys are prepared. And then we got there and I was like, oh no, like yeah, this was huge when I was 3 feet tall.
A child.
Like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
But it turned out to be really sweet. And they had some big rides too. But yeah, such a strange experience. It made me, I was very quiet on the ride home, just being like, wow, like this literally, I will never experience it the way I did when I was a kid. That's a really interesting. What inspired you to write about that? Was that just on your brain?
I was writing a lot of songs, like looking back songs, you know?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how magical the fair was when I was like growing up. We would all look forward to it all year, and it was like a pretty big fair. So like I grew up in a part of Jersey that's like pretty like woodsy, farmy, you know, but, like all of the, you know, surrounding high schools, like from like, you know, all the teens from, you know, counties nearby would like all kind of like flock to this fair every year. So it like had this feeling of excitement and possibility and like, you know, just like anything could happen, but like nothing does, but you like it might still, so keep going.
But you never know. Yeah.
God. Yeah. And then there's something about like, you know, it's nighttime, you are like running around with your friends being ridiculous, like eating funnel cake and like watching the demolition derby and stuff. It's just like,
it's gonna make me cry. Yeah.
It
like literally, that's just it. That's like, it's like every emotion. That's like one of the few places where like your expectations actually about being young and like about life being like this full crazy experience, like it's designed for that to happen, you know, like it's actually going, it's so hard to like be let down in like a dark way at a place like that, because it's like so often those experiences, like amusement parks in general, like it's so set up for it to be a good time that it's like you're gonna have some sort of fulfilling experience. It's like I don't know, that's a rare thing. Like there's so few places I feel like you can have that actual feeling where you're like creating a memory you know you're gonna be nostalgic for, like in the moment.
Yeah, I find like growing up in the area where I grew up, like I wonder if this happens to everybody. I could not wait to leave. I could not wait to move to New York. I couldn't wait to, you know, just get the hell out of there. And now I'm like, oh man.
Damn. Yeah.
There's something, I guess that's the like memory goggles. You like see the good things and you forget about the bad things for the most part.
Yeah.
Or you forget what you can.
Totally. Or like you were saying earlier, like you become weirdly connected to them and you're like drawn to being in an environment that isn't totally conducive to you having to grow. Like,
True.
dude, I feel that shit all the time about going home. I'm like, yeah, I know I want to go back here because I'm gonna get anxious, and I know I'm gonna like probably work on some music. Like, as douchey as that is, I feel like that's the least toxic way to maybe stir up some old feelings. But like, yeah, that's really interesting. You certainly are not alone in wanting to get away and then probably missing it a lot. Do you go back to where you're from?
My folks live like nearby, but like they've like my mom and my stepdad have moved like, 40 minutes in one direction, and my dad's moved like half an hour in another direction. So, and all my friends from high school that I'm still close with, the like squad of us, none of us have family homes in town, like in the area that we're from anymore. So there's like no convergence, and like I should know better, but I'm like, wow, I wish my parents still lived right there so that when I go home for Christmas I could like go to the local bar and see people that I couldn't wait to get away from when I was in school with them.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
So I'd like to think we're all probably better than we were when we were in school.
I really, really, really hope so. That would be great news. Are you a high school reunion person? Like, that makes me think, is that off limits, or is that fall under the category?
I feel like I don't think I would want to be trapped in a room with like everybody.
Yeah.
I have like the handful of people that I keep in touch with, and like I'm so happy that they're in my life.
Yeah, totally.
It seems, but like the brain is like, oh, but what if it was like actually very cool to go to your high school reunion? What if it felt great somehow?
I love that that's like the brain doesn't have to give any more explanation. It's like, oh, but that could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
End of thought. And like that can be enough to be like, cool, I'll go.
Yeah, let me spin these wheels for a few.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, oh my Lord. I don't know why I'm going to share this, but I've had an image in my head for a really long time of me going back to my high school reunion, or like in high school, remembered thinking like that I wanted to show up in like a leather jacket and sunglasses and like let people know I like didn't give a shit. And like to this day, clearly it hasn't left my brain that might be something that I want to do. Like go and like smoke a cigarette in the gym and just see what happens. I think that would really start a lot, maybe
now that I know a leather jacket and sunglasses could be part of the equation, I'm like, wait, should I rethink this whole reunion thing?
And just if you didn't know, that's what's cool. That's the
leather
standard
jackets,
of cool.
Sunglasses, roll a pack of cigarettes in my sleeve.
Yeah. Motorcycle,
probably.
It doesn't have to be involved, but like I do recommend.
But it helps. Yeah.
It doesn't hurt one bit. Dude, have you ever ridden a motorcycle?
I have not.
Have you been on the back of one? Or have you ever like ridden with somebody?
I think I have been on the back of one like down a block once.
Yeah. But
that's it.
I grew up, like my grandpa was a huge motorcycle person, and so he used to come pick me up from like elementary school on his motorcycle.
Oh my God.
So I had like a really awesome relationship with motorcycles, and then I saw an accident one time in LA actually, and it like totally shook me up, and I was like, I don't think I can. I like always had a fantasy of being, growing up and like doing what he did. He just had like an old cool motorcycle and was just like would just cruise around to go pick up a loaf of bread, like always find an excuse to go ride. And then seeing that, I was like, man, just I would be doing that to like serve myself, and I don't think that it's worth. There are other ways I can like be happy that wouldn't involve such risk.
Yeah, they're so fucking cool looking, but
I know.
I just know too many people who have really messed themselves up.
Yeah.
For it to even be a possibility. Oh, they're so
Yeah.
cool looking though.
Oh, I
but
know. Imagine. Can't let the brain go there either, because I'll buy a motorcycle.
maybe I should just get one for the reunion and then return
You
it.
can rent them, yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna need this overnight.
Yeah.
Do you guys do 48-hour rentals? Well, yeah, you'll have to let me know if you ever end up at a reunion, and I'll let you know too.
I will.
We can go together if you have a +1 and vice versa.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be really fun. I think that would be really great. Well, thank you for taking the time to hang out and talk with me today.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. This was so delightful.
Agreed. I'm glad you're doing well. It makes me super happy that you're in a spot that makes you happy.
Wait, are you doing well? We didn't talk about you at all.
Oh, and then the episode just ends right there. I just cackle and put like a ton of reverb on it. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. It's been a crazy, it's been a really, really wild couple weeks, I think. Just things have been so different here, and just made a lot of new friends, and things are happening again, and I've just been around so many people that I think it's been a lot for everybody. I think all of my close people are going through a strange, just very high school-y, chaotic period of time, but it's brought me really close with a lot of them as well. I'm doing great since I last saw you. It's we finished the record, obviously.
It's so good. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Dude, it's amazing.
I was so stoked that our song got to come to life in that way. John was so awesome about that one too. He just wanted it to be so simple and just made it so pretty, and it was
it came out so beautifully. Oh my god.
The whole plot of this podcast was to talk about that stuff, but it's been so much more fun just to catch up with everybody and just see how everybody's doing.
Oh yeah,
because it's so cool. Because I think within that song, and I'll probably say something about it in the intro or whatever, so that
sure,
it's a total podcast format.
Fixing it in editing.
It's a post thing, but it's so cool. I'm stoked for people to go into this being okay, these people wrote that song together, but then get to hear your personality and get to hear just things about you that relate to why that song feels and sounds the way it does, and so this whole podcast thing has been really fun too. It's been kind of took a break for a while, but I've started doing them a bunch more, and it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, the record came out and it was a thing, and it's crazy, and now we're here, and it was the weirdest experience ever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like I'm gonna stop having those, so I'm just enjoying the pleasant conversations I can have.
Weird experiences on the horizon.
Yeah. What are you up to in regards to your stuff? You said you've been writing a lot more for you. Are you working on records right now?
I've been I put out an EP in quarantine time.
Right.
And I'm working on another one. I'm halfway through it right now. It'll come out in the fall, and I'm finishing up writing for my next record, which I guess I'll record in the fall and put out next year sometime.
Do you record your own stuff, or do you take it to other people?
I've been doing a lot of home stuff just out of kind of necessity.
Cool.
In the weird pandemic times, but I'm going to go back into the studio in the fall if everything is still chill, which is really exciting. I haven't done that in a long time.
Wow. Do you know where you're going to track?
I'm hesitant to say it before everyone's signed on and
Understood.
Agreed. But a cool dude and a cool space.
Woo!
Hopefully,
okay,
if all goes as planned, which is rad.
Sweet.
And hey, I don't even know if this was a thing when we were hanging out. I just barely recall. But I also weirdly am in a band, and we just have put out our first couple singles, and the record will be out probably next month, which is very weird.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
It's just four of us gals, and it's sort of a no click track, analog, sort of Beatles chords and melodies, but like Shangri-La's attitude.
Oh, that's so
kind
fucking
of like
cool.
queer girl band.
That's
which has been really
incredible.
fun.
What's it called?
It's called LAX's.
Oh, I fucking love that. That's so cool. Oh, I'm so
that's
excited
like
to
what
hear
I've
it.
been up to.
Dude, is that so fun to fucking do that? What do you play in the band? Does everyone rotate, or does everybody do a specific thing?
I play guitar and sing. We all sing, and it's just sort of like guitar, bass, drums,
Cool.
and it's really fun. I've been a solo artist my entire artist career, and it's
Yeah.
like it's always something I've longed for, the sort of like camaraderie and
Yeah.
like we're in this together vibe.
Cool.
Of course, democracy has its own issues now that I'm in one, but
Yeah, grass is always
but I
greener.
love them, and I love the band and the songs and everything. It's like super fun. It's such a treat to get to do.
God, that's so cool. Are these people that you've played music with before?
They are people that had been my friends
Okay.
before, but that I wonder if you have you ever met Jake Sinclair
No.
or written with him or anything?
No. Mm-mm.
He's a awesome writer producer, and we all kind of were like satellited off of him.
Cool.
And he was like, hey, like I had been writing a bunch with him, like with other art, like for other artists projects and stuff. And one day he was like, I feel like it would be really fun if like you and you and you and you,
Right.
and like if we all got together and like made like this kind of music, would that be fun? And we were all like, hell yeah, that would be fun.
That's so cool. God, I
Yeah.
bet that's such a fun feeling to like roll up. I haven't felt that since like high school, to like roll up with your guitar to like a group of people that you don't really know, and it's like that feeling of kind of like, okay, like I gotta prove myself with how I play right now. Like that is probably so fun.
It is wicked. The first time we like got in the room, we like did a lot of writing, and then the first time we played the songs together in a room in like full form was like when we were tracking drums to tape. We were like kind of arranging and then just doing takes like that.
Damn.
And then, you know, we kind of like made the record piece by piece by piece by piece. And then like way after the fact started doing rehearsals, which is so backwards. The first
that's
time we got in the
sick.
room to like really play, I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
this is so fun.
Oh, it's like electric. Yeah, it's like this. The band in Scott Pilgrim is like, oh, I think they nailed that so much. Like the first time he's like watching them play or whatever, like it just like the like literal electricity of that feeling is like, it's real. Like especially when you're doing it for the first time with a group of people. Like that's so fucking cool. I am so stoked to hear the stuff. Is it like pretty equally split as far as writing goes, or were you like, what was your contribution to writing within the project?
So the record is 10 songs, and it's sort of like
a full record. That's fucking awesome.
Record. Oh yeah,
hell yeah.
There's 2 singles out right now, but we finished the record basically like a couple weeks before lockdown started.
Okay,
so we've just
crazy.
been like, do.
Yeah.
Me and Sam, who plays bass, and Jake wrote like 7 of the songs together, and then like Rach, the guitarist, wrote a song. Steph wrote a song. She plays drums, and then we did a cover. And a lot of the lead vocals, I feel like this is the kind of thing you'll be into.
Cool.
A lot of the lead vocals are me and Sam singing into 2 sides of the same mic, overloading the capsule, and it sort of like blends our voices together in a way that you might recognize from like early Beatles recordings, where you're like, is this John? No, it's Paul. Wait, who is this?
Dude, that's like my shit. That's so sick. Oh, I cannot wait to hear that. That's so awesome. Do you have a name for the record yet? You don't have to. I'm prying because I'm a fan.
It's a title track, which I don't know where. I feel like I've fallen on all places on the spectrum about that as a concept over my life,
totally.
But I guess I'm on board now. The record is called Get Some.
Yes. Fuck. I'm so excited. That's so cool. Oh my god. I'm so glad you told me about that. That's so exciting.
Hell yeah.
So
I'm so pumped.
Does that play into like, does your solo stuff have a relationship with that in regards to like the band fulfills one side of songwriting need for you, and then the solo thing is like taking care of something? Because that sounds like a lot of fun. Like, are those songs, was the mission of that to like just have a band and have everyone contribute and it just be like a statement as that, or are those songs pretty personal to individuals in the group?
It's interesting. I feel like I think the initial mission statement was "Let's have a blast,"
right?
And then like that opened for me, like that opened the door to take myself a little less seriously, like lyrically.
Cool.
And then that ended up like yielding songs that are like more personal and like special to me than I like ever could have imagined.
Cool.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
And like Sam is sort of like at the opposite. Like I feel like Sam is like I don't know what's the right way to describe her. She's just like a little more we just have like very different aesthetics.
Cool.
I feel like lyrically, and I thought it would be more like I thought it would create more conflict, but what it's done is sort of like kind of the way that our voices blend when we're overloading the capsule. Like the lyrics are this blend of like what we're both about, and it's like just kind of this fun new third thing that's like a blast but also means a lot to us. Yeah.
Dude, oh, that's fucking awesome. It just sounds like human, you know? Like it just sounds like very like you guys are able to put your hearts and like all corners of them into this. That's so cool. Exactly. Hell yeah. In conclusion, music, good? I think so. Okay, and that's when I pressed stop again. Hell yeah. Well, we solved it. We came in thinking, what, is music even good? And now I feel like we're like leaving like and really knowing that music is just like so good. So fucking good. I'm sick of people saying it's not. Yeah. That should be my soapbox I get on, is like, I'm just fucking sick of people saying music isn't good, because I'm here to tell you, we found out that it is. Hell yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I can't wait to hear that. I can't wait to hear your solo stuff as well. What are you listening to? Anything that is exciting to you right now? I'm so glad you asked, because I really am. Really? There are two things that have come into my sphere in the last like couple weeks that have like really made an impact. Well, let's hear what these two things are. One, do you remember a young woman by the name of Rebecca Black? Oh, I couldn't forget. So, as we all know, she once made a song called Friday. Mm-hmm. And then now here we are living in a post-Friday world. I think in June, she released an EP called Rebecca Black Was Here, and it is my favorite pop release of 2021. I think that I've heard it. Am I so wrong to think that it was like kind of like a hyper pop thing? I need help on understanding what the prefix of hyper does as a modifier to pop. Tell me everything. Maybe I'm wrong to use that term. It's like, I think it's like the 100 Gex world. Like, I don't know if you've heard that stuff. It's not, it's like, it's definitely more, I feel like 100 Gex is like wilder. Okay. But like somebody else called it sort of like PC music or something. Cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's the same thing. Wow. But it's blowing your mind. Like, it's like the writing is amazing. Yeah. And it kind of reminds me a lot of like the past couple Ariana Grande records that have really felt like, whoa, what's happening? Yes. You know, but then Ariana Grande has this sort of like hard candy shell of like a bona fide certified pop star. So there's this sort of untouchability, and she like will sing songs about like how good she is at music, or like, you know what I mean? Like, totally. Or how she buys whatever she wants. Right. And that kind of like puts, I think, a little bit of distance between the listener and the artist. And that's not to shit talk that at all. I know exactly what you mean. That's interesting. It seems like that's part of maybe even the appeal of listening to that music. It's like, it's fun to fantasize about such a like gigantic character. Totally. The Rebecca Black vibe is sort of like similarly like really interesting melodic ideas. The lyrics are like, I'm way into the lyrics, and the production is very cool, and kind of like unexpected stuff will just like
go into an instrumental that is just like it'll just like vibe for a minute at the end of the song, and you're like, nobody like, I feel like this is a treat. Yeah. And there's this like this raw edge to it.
Yeah.
You know, and a friend of mine was saying like, oh, it's so rare that like somebody could be so famous and also still so raw.
Yeah.
Because like we don't know her as much.
Not at all.
As this.
Right.
We know her as like, you know, a 13 or 14-year-old kid.
Sure.
So that EP is so great.
That you just like could not have sold that better to me. That makes me like,
yes.
Especially, yeah, with the relationship I have with Friday. Like, I would have, I was unaware that the full EP even was out. I knew that Rebecca still made music, and I almost saw her play one time, but I had no idea that she was putting out that sort of stuff. That's so exciting to know.
I haven't yet gone backwards, so I don't know like how much of an evolution this is from like the things that she's been releasing. Okay. But this release is like, it feels very special.
Yeah.
And item 2.
Yep. It's gonna be hard to top. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to top, but our next guest might be a serious contender. Are you familiar with the musical stylings of Poppy?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Am I? Wait, that sounds really familiar. I'm looking it up, but I'm listening.
She had for a while, I think, kind of like a YouTube channel where she sort of like her persona is sort of like AI-esque or like Android-esque.
Oh my God,
like
this
art doing
is crazy. This is incredible.
Cultural commentary.
Wow.
And then she's like made a bunch of different kinds of music, but in 2020 she put out a record called I Disagree that it just goes back and forth between like very heavy like metal and like Brian May guitar sort of vibes, and then like these very saccharine Beach Boys K-pop influenced kind of parts, and just like kind of fluctuating between those two extremes. And it's like the heavy stuff is extremely, to me, it's like extremely consonant,
right?
You know, and like melodic still.
Sure.
Which like, so it feels like there's like something for everyone in the really heavy stuff, and then the really sweet stuff is just like undeniable. And then the lyrics are kind of like existentialist and like social commentary, but like very simple. Ooh, it's like
even like,
it's
the names of these songs are like thought provoking, or just like paints like coupled with the album art already. It's like seems so smart, but just for the like, not for anyone's sake, but Poppy's. You know what I mean? Like it just seems really genuine. Even just like looking at it, you can totally tell.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so pumped.
I would recommend starting with the music video for Concrete. It is messed up.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. Okay, I like totally did not expect such like raw and like, I don't know, like I would not have expected those to be the two records that were like, hold on, I'm looking at the Rebecca Black thing. Oh my God, the cover of this one's crazy too.
So sick, right?
Oh, that's so fucking cool. Wow, I didn't even know this kind of thing was like happening. That's like so exciting to see. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I will listen and I'll tell you if
let me know
survive these experiences. Yeah, it seems like I don't think that I'm ready, if I'm being honest with you, but maybe that's exactly why I should dive so far into this.
I hope that it goes really well for you. I hope you're all very happy together.
I love the slight pause, just being like, have I just put my friend into a position where he will never be the same?
I mean, yes, and it's good.
Wait, do you like, this makes me think, I'm gonna maybe ask you a stupid question. I feel like you know who this person is. Do you listen to Ash Nico at all?
I don't know Ash Nico.
Oh my God. Okay, look them up online right now, because I think even just like the art is gonna speak to you. I think you've probably heard some of these songs. They're like, one of them was like a really big TikTok song. I think Slumber Party,
hello.
The Princess Nokia. Yeah, very wild.
Okay. This is like already ringing a visual bell.
Yeah, Demi Devil as a full record is literally something that I like mark my growth as a human being to the date of this coming out. The first song, Daisy, like literally changed I don't want to be the guy that's like, it changed my relationship with pop music, but literally I like didn't know that people were making music like this, and it's the shit. I think you'd really like it.
Okay, I'm very excited.
Also, crazy music video for that one too. The visuals are bonkers.
Excellent.
Yes. Oh, I'm like selfishly really happy that you hadn't heard this before, and that I could be the person to share it with you.
I'm excited to explore.
Woo! Oh my god. Okay. Well, it sounds like we both have some homework to do.
We do.
Okay. It was a pleasure speaking to you, as always.
My pleasure.
And I hope
Thanks so much for having me.
It happens more frequently, whether it's
I would love that.
on a podcast or just in general.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I may be out in LA next month or something. Oh wait, what the hell? You're not there.
I will be in Nashville from like the 5th to the 11th of August.
Oh, word.
If you're around.
I will be around. I think I might be in LA until the 8th, but then I'll be back this. I know. That's what yeah. Very funny timing.
Oh, but you'll be back
I'll be back
before I leave, and then I will go to LA.
Right, exactly. And then I'm actually going to southern Maine to clear my head for a bit.
Yes, come on down. It's waiting for you.
Okay, perfect. All right, my dear friend, you are an angel. I don't want to say angel from hell, but that would be funny callback.
I'll take it.
You can be an angel from hell. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you again. This was so much fun.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Again, I will say that I'm very happy that you're doing well in your new place, and I can't wait to
thank you so much.
see you again, and maybe even there or here or wherever. Tell Frank I said keep up the good work.
I definitely will.
Okay, thank you.
Hell yeah.
All right,
and
dude.
I will send you this audio in just a moment.
Take your time, no rush, because you need to also watch every Ash Nico video and tell me what you think.
It's true. Okay.
Straight up, actually text me and if you listen to it and tell me what you think, because I want to talk about it.
Okay, I definitely will.
Okay, perfect.
All right,
dude, you rock.
As do you.
Can you believe that I'm going to end this wonderful conversation by saying you rock?
I celebrate that. And
thank you.
I love to rock, so.
Rocking rocks.
It's my whole thing.
It's kind of like my whole, like, leather jacket, sunglasses, rock. It's
rocking.
Oh,
on a motorcycle. Yeah.
Just for the day. Okay, I will talk to you soon.
All right, dude. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
You
God. I love that person. That's like, just a sweet conversation. I'm so glad that is documented. What a funny person too. Man, hope y'all liked that. And if you do, affirm it by yelling out of your window right now and saying, "You did great, Briston and Chinny, and we'll be back next week." If you don't do that, I don't know what's gonna happen, frankly. Truly, so much fun. Thank you, guys. We'll be back. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a wonderful day.